Few creatures in sci-fi are as terrifying or as endlessly fascinating as the Xenomorph. First unleashed in 1979's Alien, the beautifully bizarre brainchild of H.R. Giger, Xenomorphs aren't just the alien killing machines that many think they are. They're sneaky, biological anomalies that push the limits of survival, adaptation, and evolution. Ever wondered why no two Xenomorphs look exactly alike or how they can survive in the deadliest environments imaginable? That's because their biology hides some secrets. And trust us, learning these secrets doesn't make them any less terrifying. So stick around to the end of this video as we explore these sneaky predators. This is How Do Xenomorphs Adapt to Any Host? Before we get into this explanation, we do have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The Xenomorph Life Cycle. When it comes to understanding the life cycle of a xenomorph, it's basically like willingly stepping into a complicated web of evolution that has been deliberately engineered to be nightmarish. The process begins quite simply, or as simply as you can expect an alien egg to form. The crazy part is that every stage of the xenomorph's life cycle just keeps getting worse. The journey starts with the ovomorph, aka the alien egg as we commonly know it, which is laid by a queen in leathery clustered pods. Although these pods may appear harmless, they are chock full of lethal facehuggers. If a life form is detected anywhere near the ovomorph, the egg flares open like a flower in bloom, with its 4 deadly petals spreading to reveal the facehugger lying in wait. In fact, lore also goes on to suggest that even without a queen, a single xenomorph is capable of creating an egg, although we haven't seen it happen, at least on screen. The next stage, that of the facehugger, is arguably the most iconic yet creepiest stage of the xenomorph life cycle. This weird-looking parasite, which kind of resembles a cross between a spider and a crab, has but one mission: to find a host and successfully implant its embryo, which will then go on to become the next generation. Swift, agile, and having an iron grip that's hard to break out of, the facehugger, after finding a target, attaches itself to the host's face and establishes total control over it, all while keeping it alive just long enough to fulfill its purpose. Its long proboscis plants the embryo inside the target, after which the facehugger dies, leaving the host to then carry forward the next stage, oblivious to the horror that's coming next. You'd think it ends there, but nope, it only gets nastier. This stage is pretty crucial since it decides which host the xenomorph will grow inside. Safe to say, it's very much like a deadly gamble. After the implantation is done, the host enters an unusual state of calm, but this is different. It's more like the uneasy sense of calm before a storm. Outside, there aren't many symptoms, but internally, the embryo is growing, feeding off its carrier. The next stage of our cycle is probably the most horrific one, and it is, as you might recall, the infamous chestburster scene that had the audience shocked and squirming in their seats, and that being the embryo erupting violently from the host's chest, killing them instantly. As soon as it takes its first breath, it begins growing at a rapid pace, shedding its initial skin and even starting the process of maturing into the adult form we all recognize and fear. All in all, it's safe to conclude that this is actually a cycle that never truly stops. Adaptation through host DNA. If you thought chest bursting was the worst thing that could happen to a host, that's barely scratching the surface. Not only do they kill the hosts to give life to themselves, but one of the most fascinating yet terrifying aspects of these creatures is the way they borrow traits from their hosts. It's like they take the very identity of their host and rebrand it for their own benefit. And this process isn't some slow mutation. This is the horizontal gene transfer which turns every xenomorph into a walking, adaptive nightmare. During the gestation phase, the host seems to be in a calm state, but that's just because of the embryo inside, which is feeding on and absorbing the host from the inside out. It absorbs DNA, physical traits, and even some behavioral tendencies, which is why when Ripley notices in Alien 3, the xenomorph that had grown inside an animal moved on 4 limbs, unlike the rest, which had hatched out of bipedal hosts. This xenomorph had adapted to quadrupedal movement before even hatching, giving it a better advantage over the bipedal ones. And this isn't just something that's limited to Earth-bound creatures only. In the Alien vs. Predator films, when embryos grew inside predators, aka the Yautja, they came out with the signature arthropod-like crushing mandibles and other traits that were exclusive to predators. This sneaky little hack is a part of the cruel twist of evolution that allows the xenomorph to take advantage of the strengths of whatever unfortunate creature it was born from. The sticky facehuggers are crucial to this process, with them chasing after their targets, all to ensure their embryo finds a host. From humans to animals, predators, and even space jockeys, anything and everything works for them. But if it's a royal facehugger carrying a queen embryo, forget it. That thing's a tank, and its only purpose is to make sure its generation continues to live on. The xenomorph's insane strategy of evolution and parasitism rolled into one is, however, quite efficient. All it needs is to ensure the embryo is planted and survives, regardless of the host, and the work is done. This is also the answer to the question, why are no two xenomorphs truly alike, and why an encounter with one, each time, feels more unpredictable than before. It's a biological program that's been running for ages, with the xenomorph having undergone a crash course in survival, domination, and terror. Environmental and behavioral flexibility. When you really start looking at what makes a xenomorph so terrifying, it's not just the claws, the inner jaw, or even the acid blood that stands out. It's also their insane ability to survive practically anywhere and everywhere. Things like climate, atmosphere, or even the planet they're on doesn't really matter to these monstrous beasts. They're what biologists refer to as polyextremophiles, meaning creatures that are equipped to survive in conditions that most wouldn't consider ideal and even have the potential to kill them. And it's exactly this flexibility and adaptability that scores them brownie points in the game of survival and takes them from just simple predators to apex-level beasts. If we want to see proof of this ability of theirs, take any film, and we see the xenomorphs scuttling around starships, easily surviving and spreading menace in the frozen void of space, and even enduring the molten heat in Alien 3. Drop any other creature into conditions like that, be they animal or human, and you'd be dragging back a corpse in seconds. Xenomorphs, on the other hand, remain unfazed, and a lot of this has to do with its exoskeleton. It doesn't just exist for show and to give the xenomorph a little pizzazz. That exoskeleton is basically organic armor plating that's made up of compounds tougher than anything we can imagine. Then comes the acid blood. On paper, it sounds like a cool thing, but it doubles as a defense mechanism that's nearly impossible to break into without having it burn straight through you. Shoot one, stab one, or even so much as graze it, and you risk spraying yourself with a corrosive substance that's strong enough to eat through steel. Ironically, yet quite ingeniously, their own bodies are immune to this acidic blood, all thanks to their specialized exoskeleton that prevents the acid from melting them down from the inside out. Then, when it comes to behavioral resilience in xenomorphs, which we discussed earlier, it's the way they adapt their tactics to whatever host or environment they find themselves in. It's like they can use whatever conditions they're in and use them to their advantage. It's also similar to the gene transfer during the gestation stage of their life cycle, which allows them to easily adapt physically as well as behaviorally, which gives them an added edge that borders on intelligence. Space? Fine. Fire? No problem. Lack of oxygen? Doesn't matter. You get the feeling that there isn't a space these sneaky monsters wouldn't crawl into and call home. Iconic examples from the franchise. One of the iconic yet fascinatingly intriguing aspects of the Alien franchise is the way the xenomorphs sneakily shift according to their hosts. All thanks to the horizontal gene transfer process, each variant of xenomorph carries the traits, both physical and behavioral, of the unlucky life it literally latched onto. Over the course of the films, we've seen just how diverse these monsters can become, with each variation unveiling another layer of horror. The most familiar form, of course, is the human-spawned xenomorph. It's the standard definition of xenomorph that we picture when we think of the franchise. Sleek, standing upright on 2 feet like humans with an external biomechanical exoskeleton and the infamous double jaw. These creatures stalk, ambush, and overwhelm their targets with overwhelmingly eerie precision. By function, they're hunters, working with a hive mindset and coordination, which is also in line with Giger's vision. Things get more complicated when, in Alien 3, the creature gestated into a quadruped. Depending on the cut of the film you watched, the host was either a dog in the theatrical cut or an ox in the assembly cut. This version is often referred to as dragon. Unlike the previous version, which was upright and bared a resemblance to a human, this version scuttled on all fours in a more feline fashion. It went from being a shady stalker lying in wait to a viciously agile beast that could maul you if you came face to face with it. Then came the Predalien, which is probably the most infamous hybrid. It was teased at the end of Alien vs. Predator in 2004 and fully unleashed in the sequel, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, in 2007. It carried Predator-like traits and directly implanted the embryos with its inner jaw as opposed to the whole facehugger stage. Also, functionally, it was stronger, bulkier, possessing mandibles, and resonating with its Yautja host. As if things weren't crazy enough, Alien Resurrection gave us the newborn. Born from a cloned Ripley and her altered queen, this hybrid abandoned the traditional egg cycle entirely. Part human and part alien, it ended up bonding with Ripley and killing its queen's mother. The prequels added their own spins to the Xenomorphs, with the Deacon in Prometheus, born from an engineer, and the Neomorphs in Alien Covenant, born from spores. Unlike the classic Xenomorphs, these appeared more raw, hinting that they were a result of earlier experiments. Then finally, last but not least, came the Offspring, which we saw in Alien Romulus, which was a disturbing combination of human, alien, and engineer traits. Each of these variations made one thing very clear. The Xenomorph can't be defined or cataloged as a single creature. It's a template that's forever evolving. Marvelous verdict! All in all, it's safe to conclude that these sneaky anomalies of nature will always stay one step ahead of anything that dares to face them. And that's also what makes them so unpredictable, as well as iconic in sci-fi history. Now, here's a question. What if humans were pushed to evolve the same way? Would we be any less terrifying? We're going to leave you with that thought, but if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Otherwise, that's all for today's video, and we hope to see you in our next marvelous video. Bye-bye.